Hey folks, welcome to the show, episode 92, Port Adelaide versus West Coast review. It's my team up against West Coast, folks. After West Coast winning their first game last week against North Melbourne, they were pretty good. After playing the Suns in the first round, which is a hard gig for the West Coast, but they backed it up. They won their game against North Melbourne, while Port, well, they beat Essendon. It's looking like Essendon's going to probably finish last at this point in time. So it's very hard to judge. Obviously, Port lost to North Melbourne in the first round. And they got done pretty easily, really. So what ended up happening? What's the scoreline, folks? And we'll go through the best players, the goals, and then we'll talk about individual parts of the game as we do in all the reviews. And then what the clubs did good and what they can improve on. So, well, Port Adelaide, they kicked 13 goals and 12 behinds, equaling 90 points. While West Coast, well, they kicked 13 goals and 14 behinds, equaling 92. So 90 versus 92, 2-point winners to the West Coast Eagles, folks. They are on a roll. And we'll talk about the goals. So the goals, well, Whitlock 3 for Port Adelaide, Georgiades 3, Durden 2, Watkins, Lukosius, Jones, Horn Francis, Burn Jones, single goals apiece for Port. For West Coast, well, Waterman kick 4, Reed 2, Allen 2, Yo, Graham, Dersma, Davis, Cripps, single goals apiece for the Eagles. Well, the best players, Butters for Port Adelaide, Farrell, Burgoyne, Sweet, Georgiades rounds out the best for Port. I would put Whitlock in there, to be honest to you. I thought Sweet was okay in the ruck. I didn't think he played as good as he normally did last week. So I would put Whitlock in there instead. Just that's a fan aspect there, but also being an honest aspect too. West Coast, well, Durza, Reid, Kelly, Waterman, Lindsay, McCarthy, all were in the best for West Coast. A couple good young guns in there. When you look at it, injuries, Radaglia, well, he hurt his knee, went down. And for West Coast, Elliot Yeo, unfortunately, has hurt his groin after having a few seasons trying to get back to playing football and being on the ground. So the crowd to TBC, so they haven't even added in the Adelaide Oval crowd. It was pretty good. I would have thought it'd be 40+ thousand there. For the power or around the mark of that, could have been 37, but I would say it would have been about 40. So let's get into the game, hey? Let's talk a bit about the game. So it was the Eagles' first time they banked 2 consecutive AFL wins in almost 2 years. West Coast, well, essentially, they started off quite well. Port Adelaide kicked the first run of scores. They had a 28-point lead. Late before a goal on the run from Elliot Yeo reduced West Coast quarter-time deficit to 22 points. Jack Whitlock, Jack Lukosius, Jack Watkins, all getting amongst the goals. The Jacks, folks. Zach Butters, well, he had 30 disposals. Cam Farrell, 25. Jace Borgin, 21 throughout the game. But they got running early, as you could see from those disposals. But the Eagles, well, they rallied with 5 of the next 7 goals. And at halftime, the home side were only 8 points up, which would have been 8 goals, 6 to 7 goals, 4. So the Eagles, well, they fought back. They got back in the game. Their pressure was better. They hunted a little bit better. They put the onus on Port Adelaide to use the ball better, and they at times looked sloppy. Georgiades extended the Powers' advantage to 14 points with his third goal early in the third quarter, but again, West Coast, they hit back. They ran hard. The third quarter was, to me, the standout part of the game, especially for West Coast. As Eagles star Reid booted 2 quick majors and give the visitors the lead for the first time. One of those goals were lucky. It hit the floor, umpires. You got to read the play better than that. That's the fan inside me, folks. But to Harley Reid's credit, he hit back and he kicked goals and he told the crowd to be quiet, which if I was there, I would have booed the man. But in all seriousness though, folks, Reid took the game by the scruff of the neck and he kicked the 2 goals. He took Horne-Francis on last year. Horne-Francis turned around and kicked 3 on him and won the game for Port Adelaide. But that resulted in a foot injury for Horne-Francis, which ruled out him for the rest of the year by going pretty hard. But Harley Reid, I think he got this game 1-1 against Horne-Francis, folks. I wanted to see him go at it a bit more if you want my personal thoughts on that. But good on them. But yeah, his experienced teammates Waterman and Jamie Cripps soon followed as West Coast grabbed 11-point lead, and they edged to retain a lead at 3/4 time with 11 goals 10 to 9 goals 11. So, look, when in the fourth quarter, Darcy Byrne-Jones, he goaled with 35 seconds in the last term to reduce the margin to 5. But the Eagles steadied as they kicked 2 majors after that. So Port couldn't capitalise, get themselves back in that game. So the midfield, we'll talk about that in a second. We'll just finish out the game as Waterman's bomb from 65 metres put the visitors up by 18 points, 3-goal lead. As the Power then threatened with the next 3 majors, as Whitlock set shot, marking with the ball with 1 minute and 48 seconds remaining. He slotted that through, but Port couldn't score again as the ball went down the other end. And Cripps kicked the point after siren, so they were already going to win the game, but just he had one more shot after siren, which put them up by 2. They're only up by the 1 point. So Port's midfield just couldn't get it done. We've seen him in a lot of games in the not last year, but the year before that, where they've been quite clutch, even back in Robbie Gray's time where he kicked that goal up on my thing there. Port have had a history, and they did it against my Mrs. Sideville there live, where they had, they kicked 2 or 3 goals within a minute. Well, you just can't keep relying on that. Even as a young and unexperienced side as West Coast, they've won a game last week. They've got that winning feeling. They want to keep going. So you can't sleep on this team. As Dersma, the number 1 pick. And to be fair, he's outshining Sharp at the moment. Sharp being injured his foot. And look, he is absolutely should have always been in the 1 or 2 conversation. He's definitely a great player. But yeah, he showcased the ability of 6 marks and had 4 clearances from stoppage around the ground, also picking up 20 touches and a goal. So quite a good effort by the young lad. So he is definitely. I thought they used him quite well, even in the third quarter. Like when West Coast were getting the ball out, they like to use the wings. I noticed that earlier in some of their games, particularly in pre-season. They'll try to open up a bit of contested stuff. Whether it's Graham, Harley Reid, McCarthy running through that centre, and then they'll kick to the outside. They'll use Dersma as a running type wingman, and he reads the ball really good. He's got a good long kick on him. He just places the ball in the right spots, and also a little bit like Oliver Dempsey in a way, but not as hard running forward. They'll use him a little bit back on the wing and then explode through there, and also having some stoppages too. So, but look. Well, what about we go through some stats, because we'll talk about the stats talk about the hitouts because I made a big call before that Sweet. Look, he had 37 hitouts. I didn't know that. Didn't feel like there were enough hitouts to advantage. And West Coast midfielders, especially in the third term, got on top of it. But 37 still 37. Matt Flynn, he didn't disappoint. He had 29. Whitlock had 8. For Port, Archer Reed, 6. Duff Tyler, 5. That rounds it out. So not bad by young Whitlock. It was probably one of his best games. Kicked 3 goals for Port. He's keeping Ollie Lord out of that side. I expected to stay like that. If he can keep kicking 3, 2 to 4 goals a game for a young lad. He's only 19 and he's going to develop into a really good key forward. But Butters, 30 disposals. He's played a game as captain before. I know against Geelong. He come in. It was our first game that we won against Geelong. But Butters is 30 disposals. Look, a lot of touches. He did spray a shot at goal, missed. He hasn't kicked, I think it was 28 games since he's kicked a goal. So dominantly in through the midfield. But a lot of... the only thing I probably can criticise him a bit is he's captain. And he definitely leads from the front with the attack on the ball. But I do like the cheeky side to him as well. But at the same time, it's a fine line being captain. I really have to admit, it's that fine line of stand straight, put your head over the ball, and maybe, it's not the best look. Your captain getting fines all the time by playing on the edge a bit. I do like it. I like his attack of the ball. I like how he gets in the face of his opponents and likes to have a laugh and chuckle at the same time. So I don't want to criticize the man. But he is captain, and he really needed to rally the troops behind him to get them going. Because they fell off in the third. Like, you look at Port's leading disposals. Well, Kane Farrell, he had 25 off the half-back. Jace Burgoyne, Josh Carr was running him through the half-back and in midfield. I feel like they needed speed on the outside, especially on the wing or the half-back more than on the inside, because as we mentioned, they're a bit of a playbook of getting the ball out to the wingers, what they were making Port running really hard. And then, West Coast broke the game open in that third term. So, some different moves by Carr. Look, West Coast, Tim Kelly had 3. I thought he was really great. I thought he was one that ran hard in the midfield. Drew didn't run hard enough with him. I thought they could have switched on to him. Harley Reid, 21. He, as we talked about, his 2 goals. McCarthy, 20. Dersma, 20. Baker, 20. So, as you can see, still solid amount of numbers across for West Coast. Lindsay, 19. Watkins, he had 19 for Port. Drew, 20. Logan Evans, 19. Horn Francis, he wasn't good enough. He only had 20. And I think he kicked a goal. So, look, Harley Reid definitely got the wood on him in this game. And they really need Horn Francis to step up. It's that fine line. I know he hasn't had a pre-season. He had his best game back last week, but it was against the bottom side. And West Coast, they were not much chopped last year. They are far more better side this year. So you can't take it away from the West Coast Eagles, folks. But one for me who I thought would have did better, and it's his first game for the club, coming over from West Coast. What's Will Brodie playing against? Coming from Fremantle, not West Coast, playing against West Coast. It was Will Brodie's first game. He only had 18 disposals, so I didn't think it was that good of a game. He only had 3 tackles, so I expect more out of an inside midfielder. 3 tackles and 3 clearances. Didn't really set the game afire. He's in that hard spot where Port wanted to bring him over, add another crash and bash midfielder. But what do you do when you have Ollie Wines wanting to come back in that side next week? Could have played this week. They gave Will Brodie a chance. He's on his last sort of leg at a third club. You got to do better. You just have to, no matter what. It is his first game. Yeah, you can be harsh in a way, but it's the opportunity. You've got to grab it with two hands, mate. Jacob Ware, well, he had 15 off the wing. Still, expect better out of him. Richards 14 off the half forward. Could have played Richards in the midfield a bit more instead of Burgoyne and Lee Burgoyne at the half back or in that wing where we needed some pace. That would have been more my leaning. Look, Job Shanahan, he took the great grab across the half back line to save the game for him. Essentially, he took 6 marks across the day, and he looked really good. I thought he was he is good. I noticed in a few games the back end of last year, and he's carried on that form to this year. He's going to be a good, tall forward. Like, don't sleep on this guy. He's only going to get bigger too. He's only 19. He's a bit like Whitlock for Port. They're both going to have long, good careers. So, Josh Lai in his first game, don't want to be too critical of him. At 13, he was really good in the first half. Had a lot of the ball, then just went missing. So, maybe just got lost within the game, and as West Coast intensity picked up. Look, Graham, 13. I thought Tyler Young, he had a better game as that tall defensive player for West Coast. Jackson Mead, 12 off the half back. He needs to get involved more. Crucial missed kick. And, yeah, they need to figure out that one. That's pretty clear. He made one mistake. Can't just drill players all the time, but that was a crucial mistake. Should just put the ball on the ground and got someone else to kick it. If not confident, just bomb it long. This is an easy one. Well, Jack Graham, he had 9 tackles. That's a great outcome for them inside mid like that. William Drew, he had 8. Burgoyne, well, he had 8. He was trying to do everything he could. Flynn, 7. So the big man Flynn got 7. So he was almost extra midfielder there, folks. Georgiades had 5 for a big fella down forward. Liam Baker 5, Davis 5, Yo 4, Jacob Ware, that's not too bad 4. Horn Francis was better, had 4. Farrell 4, Sweet 3. So yeah, Sweet, you had to get more tackles. The other Rockman beat you. You may have beat him in hitouts, but tackle wise, he got you by far. Robbins, well, he only had 3, and 1 resulted in him getting suspended with sling tackle a bit on Butters. Look, it's a bit of a controversial one, that one. It was a sling, but is it worth a week? Butters didn't get knocked out. He played the game on. So where do you draw the line, folks? Lukosius 3, Gibney 3, Durden 3 tackles, Duggan 3. A lot of 3s. The rest all the way down to Tyler Young. Clearance-wise, well, Tim Kelly 7. Well, he was the difference maker in that third term. Probably got half of them in that third term. Harley Reid had 6. So, yeah, definitely got the wood on Horn Francis. Sweet, he had 6. Butters 6, so pretty good effort. But, I criticised Butters' captaincy a little bit before, but it wasn't due to fact of, clearances, tackles, or, it's just more rallying the troops. Maybe don't take the cheeky side out of your game, but also do it to bring your players into the game as captain. That's the role. Bark some orders, get them going. So I know it's different. That's probably why a lot of people thought Butters should be captain, but maybe Rosie stands up in a different way and led them well. They obviously missed the captain, but it's Zach Butters' first game as captain. We can't judge him till at least four games in as captain. So we'll see. I just think he needs to stand up with his actions and get everyone to follow him. He needed that. And not only that, the players need to support him behind him. So it's not just a criticism of Zach Butters either. It's get behind him, folks. He is leading. He's got 6 clearances, 30-odd disposals. He's trying to kick goals. He's carrying his on the back. Can you get behind him and push him? Get behind and support the man. Put your hand on his back. Let him know you're there. Let him know you got his back. Push the other players. Get in their face. Stand up and fight the fire, because West Coast, well, they fought the fire and they won. And good on them as well. Cam Farrell, 758 metres gain. Zach Butters, 542. We just mentioned him, how he's just carrying. We need more to carry. Look, Harley Reid, 522. We'll just quickly compare him to Horn Francis, had 357. So almost double the amount of Horn Francis. So there you go, folks. Horn Francis, no preseason. Harley Reid, preseason. He's cut the hair short. He's got rid of the headband. Look, he's got rid of the preseason lulls, and he's just gone hard. There's no... Harley Reid ain't been eating Hungry Jacks this preseason. He has just been eating the protein shakes and running laps and doing the sprints and doing the hard yards at training. So, Horn Francis, I know you've had no preseason, but you are a great player. Keep your head in it. Don't get injured. Just keep trying. So, Lindsay, he had 472. So, yeah, the half-back from Vic Country, he's settling into that side. He got dropped last week and then got back in the side, which I thought was good. I didn't think he just got to keep running, put games into these guys. McCarthy, well, he had 438. He's a great player. Lukosius, 340. Burgoyne, 335. Warren, 332. Dersma, 326. Kelly, 312. Like, you look around, look. William Drew, 231 in the midfield. He's just not performing. It's hard. Look, without Butters in there. Rosie in there. Look, they started with Horn, Francis, Butters, and Drew in the midfield. McKinley and Burgoyne on the wing. So they're going to be down Radicalier. Who are they going to bring in? I'm not too sure. It's Zerk Thatcher maybe as a key tool. They're going to be a bit more shorter now with Alir and Zerk Thatcher being in there. But they'll get back Bergman. Look, he's one that was missing too. Definitely need Bergman in there. They need that experience. This is Bergman's time to actually step up and show some... that he can be one of the number one midfielders in the competition, or up in the top 5 at least, or top 10. He's not at that point. He's got all the talent in the world. He needs to come back in the Port side and take the game on. From West Coast though, geez, they've won a second game. They come over here, they've beaten my side, and props to them. They've recruited quite well. I like that they've brought in a couple of experienced players over the last year or so, like Graham and McCarthy off a mid-season pickup. He's been one of the best mid-season pickups I reckon I've seen. He is an absolute gun, and I think I love those sort of stories. I think him coming in and then adding in the number one pick. Cooper Duff Tyler, he had a bit of a quieter game compared to the week before, but it was like Shanahan and Waterman that got going in the game. And then Radicalier being injured slowed down Port's ability to intercept the ball. So when West Coast would go long, they'd get sort of players that run hard, like Waterman, opened them up in the game. So they got enough of the ball outside the midfield. Port needed to nullify that midfield. They didn't. And it's resulted in the Eagles getting that win. Well done to the Eagles. Fair is fair. Port, well, I'll be at the game next week at the MCG. First time, folks. It's going to be a cracker. You'll see me there. Like and subscribe. Thank you.